Shabbat Shalom. I think, not all the time, not often even, but sometimes when I'm standing up here on the bima, especially here in Friedman Levitt, with the glass doors that face the parking lot, and sometimes I'm standing up here and I look out at you, all of you here, praying or talking or checking your phones, but mostly you're listening or you're singing, and I look out at you and I look at the doors. And I wonder to myself if I could make that run. And I think there's probably a better route, and I think what that could be, which way is faster, which has more cover. I think cover is probably really important, which is the most cover. And I think if I'm wearing heels, kick off the heels, because even barefoot is faster than in heels if I'm not wearing flats that day, so gotta lose the heels. Especially after what happened in Minneapolis this week at Annunciation Catholic Church at morning mass. I don't think it's unreasonable to think about these things when you're in prayer space after a shooting at a house of worship. It's practical. So I think about it, and then I feel angry that I even have to. As a person who loves praying in her house of worship, I am incensed that I have to think like this, that any of us do. And I know you do because you tell me you do, and I'm angry about that. After a shooting where the murderer clearly, deeply hated Jews, I'm angry. Yes, the target was a Catholic church, but the killer wrote on one of those guns, 6 million wasn't enough. On another, Israel must fall, burn Israel. One of the many magazines they found there had the name Robert Bowers on it. That's the name of the white supremacist who shot and killed 11 Jews at Shabbat services at Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh in 2018. A hero, no doubt, to this sick terrorist. And obviously this was a person who was filled with hate for so many people. There were also written slurs against black people, slurs against Latino people, threats against the president, equal opportunity, I guess. But it's the Jew hatred that really stands out to me. It's so foundational to their thought process. In a journal that this monster wrote, there are entries, you can read the entries, and what was written about us, about Jews, it's filth. It's disgusting things written about Jews. Things that I am standing here in such close proximity to our holy Torah, I will not defile this space with those words. But the Jew hatred ran deep in this menace. I can repeat this that was written. If I'll carry out a racially motivated attack, one entry said this, it would most likely be against filthy Zionist Jews. This was a raving, violent anti-Semite. And we Jews have been sounding the alarm bells on pieces of work like this for ages. Yes, people who hate Jews target Jews. I don't think most of the world cares about that. But violent anti-Semites don't just stay in their lane. A lot of the time, they branch out. Like their anti-Semitism is a symptom of a terrible disease. Nicholas Cruz, who took an AR-15 to Stoneman Douglas High School, Parkland, Florida, shot dead 14 students, 3 staff, carved swastikas into his gun, posted all over the internet his hatred of Jews, his love of Hitler, didn't go to a shul to carry out his evil acts. He went to a public school. And violence and hatred directed at Jews is at an all-time high. It is catastrophically high right now. Right now, in this country, Jews are the #1 target of hate crimes. More than people are targeted for being black or Latino, more than people are targeted for being LGBTQ+, more often than those. Victims are targeted for hate crimes because they're Jewish. And as someone who is, well, Jewish, when a murderous anti-Semite yet again goes on a killing spree, it makes me angry. And after yet another shooting aimed at children, where the victims were children, targeted for being children at school, as a mother of small children, and as just a human being with decency, I am furious. The day after the shooting at Annunciation, I must confess, don't tell my son's principal, but this past Thursday, as many of you know, I'm sure, was an afternoon home game for the Astros. My son's been demanding to go to a real baseball game. We took him to the Sugarland Space Cowboys over the summer. He loved it. He wants to go to a major league game. But the Astros schedule hasn't been so great for us. A lot of night games, Shabbat, it just wouldn't work for us. But a little while ago, my husband said to me, would you mind if he misses a half a day and I could take him to an afternoon game? They have one in August. And I said, yeah. They're not that deep into the school year at that point. So yeah, he can miss half a day, go take him to a ball game. It's his first major league game, why not? And so on Thursday, it was midday, noonish, and I was working on my computer. I look up at the clock and I see it's about midday, and I knew at that point they're already on their way to the game. He's already picked him up, they're in their car, they're going. And my first thought was good. This thought went through my head. I thought, oh good, he's there. And because he's there, he's not in school. In case there's a copycat school shooter. These sickos, they worship each other. They emulate each other. And I thought, okay, I only have to worry then about my daughter, who's in school. She's a 12-month-old baby. Her class, they can't teach them to hide in a closet. You can't teach babies to be quiet. Don't make a sound. When they teach them in school how to hide from people with guns who come there to hurt them. It takes a lot of bravery and a lot of cognitive dissonance and a lot of faith to send your children and grandchildren to school today. And we all are furious. My fury is consuming. I am scared, yes, and I am tired, but I am so angry. I am angry we are here again. Deja vu, it's so familiar, it almost seems routine, it almost seems rote, and that makes me angry too, that it's not even that shocking at all. I am angry at the empty promises, masks. They are masks for impotence and inertia by politicians and those with power who could do something, but don't. All of them. I hate all of them. It's not sports teams where I have my team and you have your team, and I don't like you and your team. No, I don't like any of them. A pox in all their houses. I condemn them all. I am angry when I hear the platitudes. Oh, the platitudes you hear from every corner now, every corner. Oh, thoughts and prayers, sending thoughts and prayers. They were praying. But those children were praying. More than scared and more than tired, I am angry. And I'm a rabbi, so I thought, I will look at our tradition. Our tradition, surely our text, our ancient and medieval rabbis, they would understand. They knew human beings have human emotions, and anger is such a basic one. Surely they would say something, they would teach something that would bring me solace, see me in my anger, and make me feel heard. So imagine my surprise when I read, Mi shehu bar chema, one who is masterfully wrathful, should train themselves to feel no reaction. That's the Rambam. He's one of our greatest minds. Anger is an exceptionally bad quality, the Rambam says. Better to move away from it, to the other extreme. How? What is the opposite of feeling angry? Joyful? Accepting? Are those the sensations we should be experiencing? When an anti-Semitic murderer once again kills? When children are targeted? When a house of worship seats are stained with the blood of worshipers? And our greatest rabbinic minds want our overriding emotion to not be anger? I don't know if that's possible. But I think it's an issue of semantics. Our great Rambam, that great medieval rabbi, who was so vehemently against anger to such a degree, he said there's never a time or place for it. He gives us a key to understanding something so central about anger. He teaches, he says, anger, he says, is like idol worship. You've seen this. You've seen this. People who are angry just for the sake of feeling angry. Being angry because it just feels good. It feels hot. It feels active. Anger as a license to be mean. There's no purpose to that anger. There's no greater purpose to that anger. It is just a beast that grows fat on itself. It worships itself. And that the Rambam could not abide. That is an unholy emotion, as bad as idol worship. One that goes nowhere positive and does nothing. If you are angry and then just move on to the Rambam, that is wrong, that is a sin. Because that anger is useless. An anger that moves you, that propels the work of your hands and the steps of your feet, that is powerful and that is good, and that is the opposite of unholy. That is very Jewish. If houses of worship are targeted and that makes you mad, good. Do something with that anger. If Jews are targeted and that makes you mad, good. Do something with that. If children have to start doing lockdown drills in pre-K and that makes you mad, you must do something about that. Be mad if you must. I am. But we have to do something about it too. Our tradition and just common sense teach us that when we do something, that's what brings change. And when it comes to doing this, we cannot delay. In our Parsha, the part of the Torah, we read this week, God is feeling anxious about what are the people going to do, because they're not going to have Moses soon. They're going to be without this great leader. What do they do? What should these Jews do? And so God tells them, tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice, it's justice you should go after. A lot of thinkers, and a lot of rabbis, a lot of Jews, they focus on the tzedek part, the justice part. It's about justice. We need to do justice. Justice is so important. We have to have more justice, yes. And that's true, yes, but I think we're focusing on the wrong part there. I think about the other word, the tirdof. And it doesn't mean walk after, go after. There's words for that. It doesn't mean, so there's words for all these things. Tirdof is a very specific word, and it means to pursue, to chase down, to doggedly follow. It is the most active of active verbs, as if to say, it's not enough to know something is very wrong. It's not enough to feel something is wrong. We must take decisive, immediate, concrete actions, because a world where we only think and feel about justice will end up lacking it. And that will hurt the vulnerable first, and then everyone else. Matt DeBoer, the principal of Annunciation Catholic School, said, when he was addressing families and the media after the shooting, he said, there's an African proverb, when you pray, move your feet. So I beg you, he said, I ask you to please pray, but don't just stop with words. I'm not up here to tell you what form your actions should take. If you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, Rabbi, it's the guns, we got to do something about the guns, okay, so do something. And if you're sitting there thinking, Rabbi, this is a mental health problem, we have a mental health crisis, yeah, so do something. And if you're sitting there thinking, Rabbi, this is a security issue, we need to improve security in so many places, in so many ways for all of us, yeah. So what are you going to do about that? Whatever you do, whatever little bit you do, whatever steps your feet take, whatever word your mouth says, every little bit that everyone does makes a difference. I'm only one person. A drop of water is only a drop of water, but what is a wave if not so many drops of water? The only option you cannot take is to do nothing. We've seen what happens when good people choose to do nothing. It happened on Wednesday, and it will happen again. Our tradition implores us to remember that you should be mad. Just don't be immobile. Your life, your children's and grandchildren's lives depend on it. Shabbat shalom.